Hi, I'm Missionary Scott Wolfe with Zechariah Builders.
And what is Zechariah Builders?
Zechariah Builders is a unique ministry that God's given me to steward. It's a helps ministry that goes all over the world helping pastors and missionaries in whatever they need. And we specialize in three forms of construction: spiritual construction, physical construction, and eternal construction.
What do you mean by physical construction?
Well, physical construction would be anything that the local pastor needs done on his building. So it'd be building maintenance or renovation or handicap accessible ramps or anything that he deems fit, even a big remodel job, a gymnasium, structure, a concourse building, anything like that that the local pastor needs.
So you're talking about actual construction projects for particular churches, and I would imagine chambers, prophets, etc.
Yes, everything that would involve with that. That would also be if they're doing something for a widow's house or anything in that direction, or if they have an orphanage that's connected to the church. I always work under the local pastor. I never go in and look for work in the area on my own accord. I work under the protection and the leadership of the local pastor. He knows what's going on and where I should put my talents to use.
Or what experience do you have doing this?
Well, in the state of Michigan, I've been a residential licensed contractor for 22 years now. And that gives me experience in all forms of construction. I've built every aspect of a house. The last job I built for myself was custom construction. So we'd go in and we'd buy a piece of property and we'd do everything. Dig the hole, pour the concrete, do the electrical work, do the plumbing, do the roofing, do the drywall, do everything. So my brother and I would work together as a team and going around doing that. So I know all aspects of residential contracting. I have extensive knowledge with electrical work as well. I have over 2,000 hours with a master electrician. So I've taken my journeyman's test to qualify for that. And then I also have HVAC experience. I'm a licensed HVAC contractor to take Freon and move it and go wherever you want. So I have a knowledge of how that works as well.
So as far as building permits at a particular church, whether it's an add-on or remodel or new construction, who handles the permits that are required by most municipalities?
Well, you have to do some research in each state that you go to. Some of those states, I can take Michigan license and it'll transfer. I'll have to pay a transfer fee. Usually on a commercial project, you'll have an architect that's coming in, and the architect will guide and direct. He knows the area. I usually recommend everybody taking a look at the architect. If that's not a route for you, that's where I come in really well, because I can go to the local inspector and sit down and tell them what they're looking for, see what needs to happen for the church and save some leg room, because I understand and talk their language, and you can understand pretty much what that inspector's going to say or want. And it's always good to be upfront with the inspections. They enjoy somebody who comes to them and says, hey, look, I'm in the area, I'm thinking about doing this, what do you suggest? And so I work as a liaison in that position, a lot of times to give direction to the pastor as well as the deacons in the congregation.
Do you bring in a work crew, or are you working by yourself with volunteers from the church?
You know, that's a good question. I do all of those things. I always pull up in a van in the United States with my tools in there so I can personally have the tools that I need and take care of it. I have volunteers that travel with me as well. There's a lot of contractors that like short-term missions trips where they want to just come in and be a blessing to a church. But there's a lot of groundwork that needs to be put in place. That's what I do with them. I'm their contact guy, and we bring them in. I also work with the volunteers in the congregation, which is exciting for me because that gets into the physical construction and the spiritual construction. And as you work with the volunteers from the congregation, you give them, I don't know if you'd understand what sweat equity is, but a homeowner, when they start working on their project, it becomes their home. Well, when they start working on a church project, it becomes their church home, and they get more bonded to what's going on. They don't feel isolated or restricted. And I work to help see that they will do a good job and manage and direct those volunteers.
When you are going to these different churches, are you being paid, or is this work you do completely for free?
Well, what I do is it's based on a couple of criteria. First off, I'm a missionary, so I get a monthly support. I'm been doing this for over 6 years now, and I'm at 15% support. So though I have churches that give me money to travel around and do this, I am not at a level of support where I can give all my time for free.
I see.
So if a church is going to hire a contractor or somebody to come in, what I can do is I can save them that money. I usually charge them a small fee by the hour, and it boils down to my rate's at $13 an hour right now. It's kind of like Paul was a tent builder and helped finance his ministry.
Sure.
I do that. Now, when I go international or to a smaller work or a church that doesn't have the same resources as, they're all different sizes. I hate to say small churches, but they just lower on resources.
Sure.
I don't bill in that case. So it's a matter of negotiation or talking with the pastor that's coming in to that area. A lot of times I'll drop off my rate based on what they're doing and what happens.
Now, you mentioned two other constructions. The other one after the physical would be eternal?
You've got eternal or spiritual. Well, spiritual construction we tapped into a little bit. When your people, your congregation are coming out and working on a project, it's easy for them to be isolated, and the contractors that are getting paid don't want them around.
Correct.
They don't want the pastor involved. They don't want that around. The volunteers get in the way. Well, with me, I take that aspect and I use it. And when you're working with people, I'm always looking for an opportunity to counsel that individual. And you sweat and you're going through it, and you get bonded pretty quick, because no building project goes perfectly. So they see things happen, and I'll come in and have prayer right then and say we need to pray, or I'll have a morning devotion with everybody when they get there and focus them in that direction. My idea is to grab a hold of their heart and pull them into the congregation, not push them away like most contractors would do. So spiritual construction would involve that aspect. It also involves any type of preaching or counseling or Sunday school teaching or any form of bringing a person and getting them in to it. So visitation would be a spiritual form of construction.
How about door-to-door witnessing on the streets?
Now that would fall under eternal construction.
Okay.
So eternal construction is just the mindset that we're building an eternal home for people in heaven. Everything here on earth is going to be wiped out. And God really is concerned about the people in the building. That's spiritual construction. But those people need to have an eternal home in heaven.
Right.
So we go to big events.
Like?
New York City, Black Friday in, what is it?
How about the Macy's Day Parade?
Macy's Day Parade.
Okay.
Black Friday and Macy's Day Parade. We go into Mardi Gras every year.
If churches, preachers, evangelists wanted to get in touch with you regarding these particular services that you're offering, how can they do that?
Well, first off, I have my cell phone, which is 269-779-6913.
Okay. ZechariahsBuilders.com.
.com, and I have a Facebook page, ZechariahBuilders.com. You can always contact my supporting church, Lighthouse Baptist Church, Plainwell, Michigan. Pastor Steve would be welcome to take any calls and give you any information that you're looking forward to.
Now, in closing, what would you say to those folks that'll be viewing this particular interview? Any thoughts in closing?
Yeah, this is something that God's been preparing my whole life for. When Moses was standing before the burning bush, God asked him, what are you holding in your hand? And he was holding a rod. Moses used that rod all of his life. And when God talked to me, he said, Scott, what are you holding in your hand? And I said, a hammer. And I realized that I get to use that talent for the glory of God all over the world. And I never thought I would be all over the world building for God.